A new tenant recently moved into the apartment across from mine. That day, I was taking out the trash when I bumped into my new neighbor in the hallway. What a small world. To my surprise, the person standing before me was Michael, my longtime crush from school. I didn't even manage a greeting before I fled, utterly flustered. Never did I expect that the next time we'd meet, I'd wake up in his bed. A new tenant recently moved in across from my apartment. I hadn't seen them yet. It seemed like they came home quite late every night. That day, my friends had come over for a party, and I stayed up late cleaning. When I went downstairs to throw out the trash, I happened to run into the tenant in the hallway. The moment I looked at him, my heart skipped a beat. What a small world. The new neighbor turned out to be none other than Michael, my longtime crush from school. The hallway light suddenly went out, and without thinking, I tightened my grip on the trash bag and fled in panic without even saying hello. After all these years, I shouldn't have been so flustered. I doubt he would even remember me. But sometimes, muscle memory reacts faster than the mind. After tossing the trash, I wandered around downstairs for a long time, trying to calm my wildly beating heart. Michael was 2 years ahead of me in college, a legend on campus, the kind of guy every girl admired. I was no exception. I secretly harbored feelings for him, but no one knew, not even my roommate, who was with me day and night. Back then, I was an unremarkable, shy, and sensitive girl. Too afraid of being teased to ever let my feelings show. So, I buried them deep inside, careful not to let anyone find out. On the weekend, I spent the afternoon drinking and partying with a few close girlfriends. By the time I stumbled back to my apartment, I was tipsy and disoriented. When I got to my door, the fingerprint lock wouldn't respond, no matter how many times I pressed it. To my frustration, it kept flashing an error message, saying the password was incorrect. Leaning against the door, I fumbled for my phone, intending to call building management to unlock it. Just then, I heard a soft ding. The door opened. Before I could react, I lost my balance and stumbled forward, my head colliding with something firm yet oddly springy. A faint, clean scent drifted to my nose. It smelled just like the body wash I used. I rubbed my forehead, and a smooth, mellow voice reached my ears, one that sounded vaguely familiar. "You've been drinking?" I nodded, my mind hazy. "Yeah, my head hurts. And I'm a little cold." As the words left my mouth, my hand instinctively reached out to the side. When my fingers brushed against something warm, I reflexively leaned in further, eager to soak up the comforting heat. In my foggy state, I thought to myself, this pillow feels amazing. The pillow flinched slightly, and a breath of warm air tickled my ear, sending a shiver down my spine. "Jessica, cut it out." The voice was soft, yet firm. The next second, a large hand steadied me against the wall. The person's voice dropped an octave as they tried to get my attention. "Jessie, look at me." I squinted, trying to focus, but the light inside made it hard to adjust my eyes. Finally, a pair of striking, almond-shaped eyes came into view. "Michael?" I blurted out in surprise. "What are you doing here? It's been so long. It's been so long since you've appeared in my dreams." Kicking off my heels, I stood on my toes, leaning closer to him. My lips brushed against his a soft, fleeting kiss, like the delicate sweetness of cotton candy. The next moment, a strong arm circled my waist, pulling me firmly into his embrace. His lips pressed against mine, warm and insistent. Something soft slipped past my lips, leaving me breathless. The angle was uncomfortable, and I soon found myself struggling. I tried to push him away, but couldn't budge him. "You're so heavy," I murmured in complaint. Michael paused, his lips glistening as he pulled back slightly. His expression was mesmerizing, like a ripened fruit tempting you to take another bite. He leaned in again, his voice husky and magnetic, his almond-shaped eyes glinting with mischief. "How about we try a more comfortable position?" Without thinking, I nodded. Before I knew it, my feet were off the ground, and I was on the bed. His lips claimed mine once more, and his hands roamed freely over my body. In my dream, I flipped the script, pinning Michael beneath me. I tugged off his towel and unbuttoned my shirt with bold determination. Michael's eyes widened briefly before he chuckled lowly. "Didn't expect you to be this eager." With that, he took control once again, his intensity leaving me breathless. When I woke up, my head was spinning, and Michael's sleeping face was right in front of me. One of his hands was resting casually on my chest. It took a few long moments for me to process the situation. This wasn't a dream, it had really happened. Panic set in. I didn't know how to face this, so I chose the coward's way out. Carefully slipping out of bed, I grabbed my clothes and fled. I hobbled back to my apartment, clutching my aching waist and carrying my heels in one hand. My nerves were so taut that the moment I stepped inside, my legs gave out beneath me, and I plopped onto the floor with a thud. My heart was pounding so loudly it felt like it might leap out of my chest. Looking down, I noticed the unmistakable marks on my body. Flushing with embarrassment, I buried my face in my arms and couldn't help but laugh quietly to myself. "Oh my God. I finally slept with you, Michael." The overwhelming excitement coursing through me was impossible to contain. I could tell I was in no state to function at work, so I called in and took the day off. But staying at home only made me more restless. I couldn't stop staring at the peephole in my door. I even dragged a small stool to sit near the entryway. Toothbrush in hand, ears pricked for any sound from the hallway. I wanted to know how Michael would react. Part of me was scared, but another part couldn't help but hope. The unknown always has a way of igniting a person's imagination, sending their thoughts spiraling out of control. By mid-morning, there was no sound from the apartment across the hall. Michael was still home. I sipped my coffee, growing more and more anxious. Maybe he's still asleep, I thought, trying to comfort myself. I'll just wait a little longer. Around 2 p.m., just as I was drifting off, the sound of a door opening jolted me awake. I shot to my feet, took a deep breath, and peered through the peephole with wide eyes. It was Michael. He was wearing casual clothes. As he turned to leave, he glanced briefly at my door. But then he walked to the hallway and pressed the elevator button without hesitation. "What? That's it?" I stood frozen, staring at the door. What's going on? Shouldn't he be coming over to confront me? Deflated, I slumped back into my bedroom, flopping face down onto the bed and burying my face in a pillow. What exactly am I expecting here? A one-night stand is supposed to be just that, two people parting ways come morning without looking back. Michael has always been surrounded by admirers. He's probably so used to this sort of thing that it doesn't faze him anymore. Although, the way he handled things last night was far too skilled for a novice. But no, Michael isn't that kind of guy. Maybe he'd had too much to drink and blacked out, forgetting who he was with. I racked my brain trying to piece together last night, but all I could recall were faint sensations and a few scattered fragments. Worse still, those fragments blurred further as I sobered up. In the end, I started to seriously doubt if I had really heard Jesse last night. Maybe it was just my imagination. He probably didn't remember anything from last night. And even if he did, he might not even realize it was me. With that thought, I let out a long sigh of relief. No matter what, I didn't lose out, at least I fulfilled a dream. Life goes on, and so must my mindset. In the days that followed, I didn't see Michael again. One day, Anna, my colleague and best friend, dragged me into the break room and asked in a hushed tone, "What's been on your mind lately? You've been zoning out in meetings." And even the boss noticed. "You should be careful." I took a sip of my coffee and replied flatly, "It's nothing. I just haven't been getting enough rest. Feeling a bit groggy." On Friday night, I curled up on the sofa playing games, determined to shake off the dark cloud hanging over me. I was completely engrossed until a knock on the door snapped me out of my concentration. Oh right, I had ordered pizza. Still holding my phone in one hand, I opened the door a crack and extended my arm, grinning. Finally. It's here. But the delivery person didn't hand it over right away. I opened the door wider, about to ask what the holdup was, when I was startled to see Michael. Before I could react, he leaned his upper body toward me, and I nearly lost my footing. I glanced down and noticed he was holding my pizza. What is this? Did Michael pick up a side gig as a pizza delivery guy? I grabbed the pizza and placed it on the shoe cabinet beside the door, then tried to nudge him back. Thanks for delivering my pizza, but you can go now. Michael didn't budge. Instead, he buried his face into my neck, wrapping his arms tightly around me as he complained in a pitiful voice, I had too much to drink. I feel awful. Let me hold you. His warm breath tickled my skin as he spoke, making my face heat up in response. When I didn't move, he hugged me even tighter, leaning closer to my ear. His voice softened, sounding like a spoiled child. Hug me. This was way too much. Who could resist this? I raised a hand and lightly patted his head as if soothing a child. Let me help you back to your place. You can lie down and you'll feel better. But instead of letting go, he nuzzled further into my neck. The electric sensation shot through my body, making me too flustered to move. Do you not like me? Michael's tone resembled that of an abandoned pet, and my heart wavered instantly. No. Then that means you like me, right? I didn't respond. Michael grew restless, his hands wandering over me as he asked again and again, don't you like me? I surrendered. There was no reasoning with a drunk man. Pressing down on my wildly racing heart, I whispered, yes. I like you. Those words I had kept hidden for so many years unspoken in all my days of silent longing escaped so easily. It felt like a confession long overdue. Nervous, I clenched my fingers tightly. Michael lifted me onto the cabinet, positioning me to face him. His peach blossom eyes were slightly misty, and a touch of red dusted their corners, making him look stunning. Pointing at his flushed lips, he murmured in a muffled voice. Then kiss me. I licked my lips and swallowed hard. A drunk Michael was far too tempting. I was on the verge of losing control. Trying to stay calm, I moved his hand aside and began to slip away. Let me down first. But he caged me with both arms, trapping me between the wall and his chest. His handsome face inched closer, his warm breath brushing against my skin. My heart was about to leap out of my chest as heat surged to my face. Oh no. My brain was short-circuiting. Michael leaned even closer, licking his lips. I couldn't hold back anymore and threw my arms around his neck, kissing him first. After a moment, Michael murmured softly, since you like me, you'll take responsibility for me, right? Yes. Then it's okay if I do something, right? Uh-huh. Just don't go back on your word, okay? Okay. His ragged breathing brushed against my skin. And it hit me too late, I had fallen straight into Michael's trap. As I was caught up in the moment, alarm bells rang faintly in my mind. I turned my face away and mumbled, embarrassed, wait, I don't have any protection at home. Michael scooped me up with a satisfied smirk. Then let's go to my place. Even though I was sober this time, I hadn't expected a drunk man to keep going until the early hours of the morning. For the second time, I woke up in Michael's bed. But this time, he was spooning me from behind, holding me so tightly I couldn't move. Helpless, I slowly turned to shift his arm away. A low grunt came from above, and he pulled me even closer. Without warning, I was pressed against his chest. He patted my head and murmured, don't move. Sleep a little longer with me. You wore me out last night. You can fuss later. I froze, not daring to budge. Afraid of what might happen if I did. After what seemed like forever, I carefully wriggled free, trying not to wake him. Just as I was about to escape, his large hand wrapped around me again, pulling me back into place. Michael, his voice still husky from sleep, said, "You're at it again. Do you want to pick up where we left off last night?" "I wouldn't mind." "What?" I didn't. Before I could finish, Michael silenced me with his lips, tugging the blanket over both of us. When I finally opened my eyes again, Michael's smiling face was the first thing I saw. To be honest, I wasn't ready to face him yet. Feigning sleepiness, I turned and buried my face in the blanket. Michael tugged on the edge of the blanket, forcing me to reveal my face. "Jessica, are you hiding again? Look at this." He pointed to the red marks on his neck. "You've made a mess of me. How am I supposed to show my face in public? Don't you think you owe me something?" Michael pulled down the blanket covering his chest, pointing at the faint marks scattered across his skin. "Wait a second, that's my line. He's not only stolen it but also turned the tables, playing the victim." Annoyed, I puffed out my cheeks and yanked the blanket off him in return, pointing at the marks across my own chest with a matching glare. "Look at mine. I've got way more kiss marks than you." The moment the words left my mouth, I realized we were both utterly exposed. Heat surged to my face as I hastily pulled the blanket back over myself. Propping his chin on his hand, Michael chuckled, his voice tinged with mischief. "I'll take responsibility for yours. But for mine, shouldn't you do the same? You always play fair. Don't you?" Without a second thought, I shot back, "Of course. I'm always fair." His grin widened in satisfaction. Pulling a t-shirt over his head, he gave me a quick pat. "All right, let's get cleaned up. I'll make lunch afterward." Wait. Did I just fall for his trap again? My nightgown had been torn beyond repair, so I had no choice but to wear one of Michael's oversized hoodies. It barely reached mid-thigh, leaving me feeling uncomfortably exposed. Michael called me to the dining table. His table was glass, and with him seated across from me, I hesitated. The hoodie wasn't long enough. If I sat, there'd be no hiding anything. "I'll just eat standing," I announced awkwardly. Michael smirked, a teasing glint in his eye. "Or would you rather I hold you while you eat?" Flustered, I finally sat down, tugging the hem of the hoodie as far down as it would go. Watching my fidgeting, Michael raised a brow, adding fuel to the fire with a sly tone. "Relax. I'm not going to eat you." What happened to the Michael I used to know? I swear someone's been corrupting him. With my head bowed, I ate quietly, acutely aware of his gaze burning into me. The silence stretched on, and it turned into one of the longest meals of my life. When I moved to clear the table, Michael caught my hand. "What are your plans today?" His question reminded me of something I'd nearly forgotten. "I have afternoon tea with a friend." "Friend? Male or female?" "Female." "Good." His voice dropped slightly. "Let me know when you're ready. I'll drive you." "There's no need." Before I could finish, Michael cut me off with a kiss, leaving no room for argument. He ruffled my hair as though placating a pet. "Be good." Still reeling, I wanted to argue further, but he leaned in like he was about to kiss me again. Surrendering, I nodded quickly. "Fine." When we reached his car, I instinctively headed for the back seat. Michael stopped me. "Sit in the front," he said, his tone casual but firm. "I want to see you." Though it was winter, the inside of his car felt like summer. Warm and intimate. The faint aroma of his cologne stirred memories of last night, making me fidget in my seat. Noticing my restlessness, Michael asked, "Thirsty?" "A bit," I admitted. At a red light, he grabbed a water bottle and handed it to me. "Here." "Thanks." Tapping his fingers lightly on the steering wheel, he glanced over at me and said, almost out of the blue, "You've changed. You're prettier now, and bolder." I didn't respond, focusing instead on the bottle in my hands. It wasn't the first time I'd heard that comment. Since graduating 2 years ago, I'd occasionally run into old classmates, all of whom seemed surprised by my transformation. But honestly, I hadn't changed that much. I'd simply ditched my glasses and learned to use makeup. Back in college, I was the girl with no makeup, heavy frames, and no clue how to dress up. The plain, invisible type. My roommates had tried countless times to push me out of my shell, urging me to attend events and meet new people, to fall in love instead of burying myself in the library. I had smiled and ignored them. I knew what I wanted back then, and I wasn't about to let distractions derail me. My family wasn't well off, while others splurged on outings. My focus was on securing scholarships and building a career. Love could wait until I had the resources to love myself properly. Now, all that hard work had paid off. My job not only paid well, but also afforded me the freedom to indulge in the little luxuries I once had to forego. And with financial independence came confidence, a confidence that, more than anything, made me attractive. Michael dropped me off in front of the cafe and told me to call him when I was done. When I stepped inside, I froze. Across the table sat not one, but 3 incredibly handsome men. "Anna," I hissed, dragging my best friend to the bathroom. "What's going on?" Anna, ever the troublemaker, grinned. "You know the guy sitting across from me? I have a crush on him, but I was too nervous to ask him out. So I set this up. He brought a friend, and then his younger brother insisted on tagging along after seeing your photo." "What? You ambushed me into a group blind date?" Anna winked. "Relax. The younger brother is cute and only 2 years younger than you. Think of it as an opportunity to mingle." Anna's cute younger brother turned out to be Chris, a senior majoring in the same field I worked in. We hit it off almost immediately, exchanging contacts and talking shop. There was a youthful enthusiasm about him, reminding me of my own naive excitement when I'd just started working. Chris's easygoing nature was disarming, and his earnestness made him impossible to dislike. As our conversation continued, my coffee had cooled down. Chris suddenly interrupted, asking, "Shall I order you a fresh one? Unsweetened, right?" He was so considerate. As always. I turned around and caught Anna staring at me, her expression full of mischief as she shot me a look that said, "See? Told you he's thoughtful." We happily chatted for a while longer. The sun was setting, and a cool breeze seeped through the gaps in the glass windows. I had dressed lightly, and the chill made me sneeze several times in a row. Chris started to take off his jacket for me, but just as I was about to decline, a familiar black coat settled over my shoulders. It wasn't Chris's jacket. I turned to see Michael standing there, his expression complicated. He adjusted the coat snugly around me before pulling me up from the couch and wrapping an arm around my waist. With a note of exasperation, he said, "My apologies. My girlfriend had a little spat with me and decided to come here to make me jealous. She wasn't actually interested in this date." Before anyone could respond, he led me out of the cafe. As I glanced back, I saw Anna staring, her eyes wide like saucers, her mouth hanging open in disbelief. Inside the car, I picked up my phone, intending to explain everything to Anna, only to notice 7 or 8 missed calls from Michael. Michael shot me a peculiar smile as he reached out to ruffle my hair. "Jessica, you're so naughty. Look at you, even learning to lie now." For some reason, whenever I faced Michael, all my usual composure vanished. Like a child caught doing something wrong, I turned my face to the window and murmured, "I didn't." "You misunderstood." With a soft click, the seat in front of me reclined flat, and Michael moved into my space. Before I could react, he kissed me, deeply and urgently. His teeth lightly tugged at my lips as his tongue claimed every corner of my mouth. It felt like an eternity before he finally released me. I gasped for air, my face burning as red as a boiled shrimp. Michael wiped the moisture from the corner of my lips and muttered, his tone low and gruff, "I'm upset. You'll have to cheer me up if you want me to forgive you." I must have lost my mind, because I actually followed his lead, asking softly, "How do you want me to cheer you up?" Michael, as if he had anticipated this, replied smoothly, "First, let's go shopping for clothes. Later, I'll think of more ways for you to make it up to me." I sighed, frustrated at how I'd fallen into his trap again. I assumed Michael's trip to the mall was for me to help him pick out clothes. But no, that wasn't the plan. He said he always kept his promises, and since he'd promised to take responsibility, he intended to see it through. Apparently, the nightgown he tore deserved replacement, and not just one. Several. The problem? The designs he picked were outrageous. The store assistant, clearly mistaking us for an overly affectionate couple, ushered us straight to the colorful, risque lingerie section. Flustered, I was about to tell Michael to try another store, but when I turned, I saw him instructing the assistant to pack several pieces. I stopped him, saying, "Don't waste money. There's nothing here I like." "Don't be shy," he said nonchalantly. "Try them on at home. And you'll see if there's anything you like." I sighed. Fine. If he insisted on spending his money, so be it. As compensation for his splurging, I treated him to dinner. While waiting for the food, we caught up on the past few years. I learned that he'd been busy with research out of town and had only transferred back a few months ago. He didn't ask about my relationships, so I didn't bring them up either. Michael had never been short of admirers, he'd probably had his fair share of relationships. But what did he mean by calling me my girlfriend in front of everyone earlier? Was it genuine affection, or just a man's innate possessiveness? If he liked me, why didn't he ever say so? Could it be that he knew I liked him and was just toying with me, using my feelings to his advantage? Or maybe he simply enjoyed the attention? I couldn't figure it out. Though we'd shared the most intimate of moments, the truth was, we barely knew each other. Back in school, we hadn't even spoken much. I needed to stop this. I couldn't let myself fall deeper into whatever this was into him. Under the moonlight and the warm glow of street lamps, we drove home in silence, the car radio softly playing in the background. The road stretched endlessly ahead, straight and smooth, like a metaphor for life's long journey. For a fleeting moment, it felt as if we were driving to the ends of the earth together, a place of happiness, serenity, and forever. The glow of 1,000 lights reflected off the car windows, and his profile was among them, beautiful and dreamlike. Unconsciously, I wanted to capture this fleeting moment. Slowly, I traced the lines of his face on the windshield with my finger, clean, handsome, and radiant. A boy who shone like sunlight. It was time to say goodbye. I was fully aware, painfully so, that without love, any embrace or indulgence would only lead to a messy, unworthy mire. If there's one thing I pride myself on, it's my self-awareness, the ability to cut my losses before it's too late. Life, however, has a way of slapping you in the face when you least expect it. Barely an hour later, I ran into Michael again. His shower head had broken, and he came over to borrow my bathroom for a shower. Just when I had made up my mind to sever my feelings for him, he reappeared, throwing my thoughts back into chaos. I decided to tackle the root of the problem. While Michael was in my bathroom, I grabbed a toolbox and headed to his apartment to fix his shower head. After all, back in school, I was the go-to person for fixing anything. I'd even won awards for my skills with circuits and welding. Tightening a few screws? A piece of cake. It took a lot of effort, but I finally unclogged the shower head and screwed everything back in place. That's when Michael walked in, wrapped in a towel, his damp hair dripping water. Surprised, he said, "You can fix this? Jessica, you never cease to amaze me." A bit smug from his praise, I called him over. "It should be fine now. Try it." Suddenly, a huge gush of water sprayed out, drenching me from head to toe. I stood there, utterly stunned, as the shower rained down on me. Goddamn. In my haste, I'd forgotten to switch the shower mode. Now my hair was soaked, and I couldn't even open my eyes properly. Panicking, I grabbed what I thought was a towel to wipe my face. And then I froze. It wasn't a towel, it was Michael's towel. Which meant Michael was now naked. Horrified, I looked down at myself and froze again. The water had completely soaked my clothes, clinging to my body like a second skin, outlining every curve. I was practically naked too. Life's unending string of surprises can really put a person in a bind. Blushing furiously, I lowered my head and stammered, I didn't mean to. I'll leave right now, okay? Before I could leave the bathroom, Michael blocked the door. A strong sense of foreboding washed over me. He advanced toward me, step by step. With nowhere to retreat, I didn't dare look down, but meeting his eyes felt even more dangerous. Left with no choice, I looked up. His gaze locked onto mine, smoldering, amused, and intense. "You're so adorable, Jessica," he said with a teasing smile. He leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper by my ear. "Jessie, why is your face so red? Want me to help you cool down?" Inwardly, I chanted, "Don't lose your cool, Jessica. You promised yourself you wouldn't fall for Michael again." Michael murmured something else in my ear. That devilishly handsome face of his was practically spellbinding, tugging at my heart like a sly fox. I broke my promise. I'd vowed to stay away, but here I was, succumbing to his allure all over again. Worse still, Michael didn't just flirt, he left me flustered and then demanded a response. After a lingering kiss, he pulled back and asked, "Jessie, what do you want to do now?" Another trap. I wasn't about to let him win. Not this time. But Michael was more patient than I was. I lost again. Through gritted teeth, I stammered out my answer, biting back my frustration. The bathroom was filled with warm mist, the scent of soap and the faint, intoxicating trace of love lingering in the air, refusing to dissipate. I woke to the soft patter of rain against the windows. Michael was still asleep beside me, his breathing even and peaceful. Lying in bed, flashes of the past few days' absurd events played in my mind, leaving me restless. I got up and slid open the balcony door. The chill of early spring mingled with the dampness of rain-soaked air, rushing in to envelop me. As the wind brushed against my face, it carried away the haze in my thoughts, leaving my mind clearer and calmer. My feelings for Michael weren't a case of love at first sight. Nor could it be described as a gradual romance, as our interactions were few and far between. I just admired him from a distance, his way of handling situations, his perspectives, his empathy, and I was delighted to find that we shared similar ideals. Those fleeting, unspoken exchanges, the occasional encounters, and brief moments together, planted a seed in my heart. Over time, it grew, blossomed. And I finally realized it was called liking. Flowers are a symbol of beauty in this world, delicate yet fragile. I couldn't bear to let go, so I kept nurturing it. They say people nurture flowers, and flowers nurture people. I wanted to be like Michael, gentle, capable, and a dreamer. The first time I saw Michael was at the freshman meet and greet during our first year of college. He and Angela were the class advisors. His smile was like a warm breeze, and he answered everyone's questions with enthusiasm. Before the event ended, he gave an uplifting speech filled with sunshine and optimism. I imagine many people were tired of the same old advice and motivational talks. And I noticed no one was really listening. Whispers filled the air as people discussed the fun of college life. But Michael was undeterred, still smiling with his clear eyes, radiating genuine hope. I felt connected to his values and could empathize with his words. He was a true leader, and within a few days, he had memorized everyone's name and face. When we bumped into each other on campus, he would greet me with a friendly smile. He treated everyone with such warmth, like the refreshing breeze in a summer mountain, so comfortable and soothing. He was good at sports, too. He could play all kinds of ball games and was an expert on the skateboard. With his good looks, top-notch grades, and leadership as student council president, he was also a pillar in the lab, the kind of person professors admired. Unsurprisingly, he became the heartthrob of the school. I closed the balcony door, lost in thought as I recalled the few moments we'd shared. After Christmas in our first year, the snow melted, and spring arrived. One evening, after the library closed, I walked my usual route back to the dorm. Not long after I stepped outside, the drizzle, mixed with biting cold wind, hit me full force. Someone called out from behind, "Jessica, right? Didn't bring an umbrella?" I turned around, startled. Oh my God, it was Michael. But I quickly regained my composure and tried to respond calmly. "Yes. It's really cold today. Come on, get on my bike. I'll give you a ride back." I shook my head vigorously. "No need, I can make it back on my own." "Jessica, no need to be so polite, it's fine." Before I could think, the words slipped out, "It's not fine." Michael seemed confused. "What? Why?" I didn't want to explain. So I kept walking forward, but he kept following, asking why. I sighed and said, "Can I be honest?" "Sure. Your charm is just too much, and people are really curious about your personal life. A lot of people will be coming out of the library soon, and if you give me a ride, I'll end up all over the school's gossip websites tonight. I really don't want to deal with that kind of trouble. So keeping a safe distance is the smart thing to do. Thanks for your kindness, I appreciate it." Michael seemed to find this hilarious, laughing so hard that a tear appeared at the corner of his eye. I glanced around thankfully, no one was nearby, and made a don't talk gesture to him, my face flushed with embarrassment. "Stop laughing." He wiped his eyes and grinned widely. "So you're this shy, huh?" My heart fluttered as I looked at him. "Yes. I'm definitely not as brave as you." "Jessica, you're so cute." My heart skipped a beat, and my pulse quickened. What's happening to me? Michael stopped teasing me and tossed his jacket over to me. "Go throw this in the trash outside the dorm. It's old anyway, I'm not planning to wear it again. Let it do its last job shielding you from the rain." I was about to toss it back, but he was already riding off in a hurry. I stood there for a moment. Then reluctantly brought the jacket inside, unsure whether to keep it. After much hesitation, I ended up putting it in my dorm room. I often ran into Michael at the library, but we didn't really chat, just exchanged casual greetings. For Halloween during our second year, Jack organized a trip to the amusement park's haunted house. I refused, but Jack told me I hadn't joined the activities several times already, and if I skipped again, it would be disrespectful to him. On top of that, my roommate's sweet-talking made me relent and agree to go. To my surprise, Michael and another student, Angela, also attended. Angela, delicate and graceful, clung to Michael and said she was scared, asking him to stick with her. I'm not sure who suggested pairing up, but I was a bit speechless. The rules of the haunted house didn't say you had to go in as a pair. Having more people wouldn't hurt. All my roommates had boyfriends, so it wasn't like I could join them. By the time everyone had paired off, only Jack and I were left. I ended up sticking with him. My roommates all said I looked great, fearless. Unlike the other girls who had fear written all over their faces. I couldn't be bothered to tell them the truth that I was scared out of my wits but had been dragged along by their pestering. Whether I was scared or not, I had to go in. I decided to save some energy and be brave when it really got scary. Michael and Angela were in the second-to-last group, and Jack and I were in the last one. Damn it. Jack was completely unreliable. As soon as we went in, Jack ran ahead in a panic, scared by the first ghost, leaving me standing there alone. The eerie music, the chilling breeze, the floating bloody cloths, and the creepy dolls popping up in every corner, all of it terrified me. My fingers were icy, and each step felt like walking on thin ice. I tried to convince myself that this was just a dark forest. The ghosts here faced cruel rules and lived terrible lives every day. But I, Jessica, was a light, here to save them. These ghosts were pitiful, so I shouldn't be afraid, I should pity them. The self-talk helped a little, but when I turned the second corner, a ghost suddenly appeared right above me, scaring me so much that my glasses flew off. Oh no. I couldn't see anything in the pitch black. I had no idea where my glasses had gone. In the dark, a warm hand gently grasped my cold fingers. And a familiar voice spoke. "Jessica, it's Michael." He even put my glasses back on for me. "Thanks. But, how are you here?" I got lost. "Oh. Where's Angela?" "We got separated." I pulled my hand away and quietly followed him, matching his pace. My body still trembled slightly. Michael asked, "Are you scared?" I clenched my fingers and answered honestly, "Yes." He turned to face me, extending his hand toward me. "Do you want to hold my hand?" I waved my hand dismissively. "No, it's okay. It wouldn't look good." I heard Michael chuckle and then suggest, "How about this? You hold my jacket hem and take your glasses off. That way, you won't be able to see the ghosts, and you won't get scared. If there's anything on the ground, I'll warn you." "Okay." I was worried about wrinkling his jacket, so I didn't dare grip it too tightly. I switched hands now and then and walked like this for a long time. After a sharp turn, a gust of wind blew into my face. I didn't hear clearly, but Michael seemed to say, "You look really good without your glasses." Suddenly, everything went black. Michael covered my eyes with his hand, leaning in close to my ear and whispering, "Jessica, there's a vampire in front of you. It's pretty scary. So let's wait for it to pass." "Okay." My eyelashes brushed against his hand, and I didn't dare move. As we neared the exit, he put my glasses back on. "You're a bit of a scaredy cat, huh? You can go out first, don't worry. The way out is safe now, and there won't be any more scary stuff. You don't need to be afraid." In that moment, I felt my heart skip a beat. I remembered it clearly. He was like a light in the darkness. My very own knight in shining armor, guiding me through the darkest time. Once we reached the safe zone, he told me to be brave and walk the last stretch on my own, to head toward the light. I wanted to be that kind of light too. The next time I saw Michael was at his graduation ceremony. It was also the last time I saw him before I graduated. Everyone in our class went to attend his graduation photo shoot. After the big group photo, a bunch of people surrounded him, lining up to take pictures with him. Everyone gave beautifully wrapped gifts. After thinking it over, I decided to write him a letter with my blessings. The gift was light, but it took me a lot of thought, practicing my handwriting, drafting, and then copying it neatly. I hoped the words I wrote would give him some strength and energy. I handed the gift to his little sidekick, intending to leave. Michael called me over, waving his hand. "Jessica, come take a photo." He said a few words to the people nearby, and they cleared a path for me. I walked over to Michael and smiled. "Happy graduation." "Jessica, do you have something to do? Are you leaving?" Then let's take a photo first." He pulled me in and had me stand on his right side, handing me a flower. "Jessica, can you take off your glasses?" I was a bit startled. "Oh. Okay. It's fine if you can't see clearly. Just look straight ahead at the camera and smile naturally." "Okay." Jack counted down, 3, 2, 1. I imagined Michael at the camera and forced myself to smile naturally. When he reached 1, Michael lightly placed his hand on my shoulder, pulling me slightly closer. Our bodies were suddenly much closer. The next moment, he let go. Everything went back to normal. Thinking about everything that had happened before made me lose focus, and I was suddenly splashed by hot oil from the pan. I was making breakfast. Halfway through the sandwich, Michael came up behind me, hugged me, and buried his face in my shoulder, happily sniffing. "I thought you had run off again, but you're here making me breakfast. Are you hungry?" He spoke in a soft voice, "I've burned a lot of calories. Can you make me more, Jessica?" His hair brushed against my neck, making it itch, and I instinctively wanted to shrink away. It'll be done soon. You can go sit down for now. But he didn't let go and pulled me in even closer. No. The smell in the kitchen is so nice. After breakfast, Michael was washing the dishes. I leaned against the kitchen door and said, "Once you're done, let's sit down and talk." He returned to the table, propping his head up with one hand and grinning. "What do you want to talk about?" I was straightforward. "I want to end this physical relationship." His smile immediately froze, and after a long silence, he slowly asked, "You don't want to be with me?" I lowered my head, avoiding his gaze, and answered, Is it because I was too much last night?" "No." Michael asked, sounding hurt. "Why do you want to end it? We've been really in sync. If I need to improve, you can tell me." I sighed. "Michael, I don't want to be your tool. Then be my girlfriend." I immediately refused. "No, you don't like me, and there's no need for you to force yourself." Michael suddenly stood up. "Who said I don't like you?" "Jessica, listen to me, I like you, a lot." My heart skipped a beat, as if wrapped in honey. Sweet and warm. But I couldn't allow myself to soften. On the balcony, while the wind blew, I had already made up my mind. Matters of the heart needed to be made clear, not left in a tangled mess. Even if it was a one-sided love, I still had my pride. Michael and I should be equals in a relationship. If it wasn't mutual, it wasn't worth it. Liking Michael from afar and pursuing him were completely different things. When I liked Michael from a distance, I did so without disturbing him, without trying to get close or expecting anything in return. There were no selfish intentions or one-sided sacrifices. If I were pursuing Michael, then being with him would be my goal. I voiced my inner doubts. "Michael, we just met again recently. And then we slept together right away, skipping all the steps of a relationship. You say you like me, but is it love that came from just sleeping together?" Michael stretched his long arm across the table and grabbed my hand. "Jessica, no, it's not that. You might not believe me, but I liked you back in college." When I heard this, my heart almost exploded. "What? You're not kidding me, are you?" "Jessica, I'm not lying to you. In fact, I liked you a long time ago, but I was afraid to scare you, so I held myself back from pursuing you. I wanted to believe Michael, but I couldn't help but wonder, what was it about me that he liked back then? So, tell me, what do you like about me?" Michael looked a bit embarrassed, hesitating. "Well, it's hard to explain. Can you understand that feeling of not being able to control yourself? Like dreaming of you, crying under me." Michael. This guy never took anything seriously. I had to come up with a plan. A thought suddenly flashed in my mind. He had so many people chasing after him, so what would it be like to pursue me? Maybe this would be the opportunity to guide him back on track. So I suggested, "You can't answer me, which makes it hard for me to believe you. But there's a way you can prove it." "What is it?" "Prove it with actions. You pursue me, let me feel your affection. And in the end, I'll give you my answer. How about that?" Michael's brows relaxed, and he flashed his signature smile, leaning closer. "Indeed, we can't let Jessica get shortchanged. It would be a waste for me. I'll do whatever you say. If you want me to officially pursue you, I'll pursue you. But, can I still?" I guessed what he was about to ask and quickly covered his mouth. Speaking before he could. "Not until you've won me over. No kissing or anything until then." Michael's lips were already near mine. "Then I'll start pursuing you tomorrow, but today I'll kiss you enough." Michael. Ever since Michael started pursuing me, it felt like I had a personal assistant, and honestly, it wasn't bad. On weekdays, I had regular wake-up services, creative breakfasts, and thoughtful pick-up and drop-off services. Because of the coffee shop incident last time, I had confessed everything under Anna's questioning. At lunchtime, Anna asked, "When are you going to agree to him?" Such a handsome guy is around you all the time, can you really resist? Don't worry, I learned to be patient, I replied. Anna looked me up and down. With your slim arms and legs, you're really not in the best shape. You should exercise more to build your strength. I don't like exercising. Anna really had a knack for jinxing things. For some reason, Michael had suddenly gotten this idea that he would come to my house every night to drag me out for a run, starting with 3 kilometers. I was going crazy. We had agreed that he would pursue me, but by the evening, it had turned into me chasing after him. Running behind him. I suspected Michael was getting back at me, but I had no proof. Michael smiled innocently. I'm helping Jessica get faster and stronger by running with her every day. Isn't that great? Jessica, aren't you touched? My days turned into a mix of sweet and burdensome as I flipped through the pages of the calendar. I heard that Jack was going abroad, so the others organized a farewell party. Last year, on the anniversary of our graduation, I had to miss it because of some last-minute errands. This time, it was set for Friday night, and since I was free, I didn't refuse. I didn't tell Michael, though, because I knew if I did, he would want to come too. If everyone found out he was pursuing me, they'd definitely tease us, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. The road was clear. And I arrived earlier than I expected. The room was filled with laughter and chatter, so it seemed like quite a few people had come to the party. Just as I was about to walk in, Alex, who was leaning against the door, looked me up and down and stopped me. Hey, I'm seeing you for the first time. Who are you? I waved my hand. Alex, I'm Jessica. Alex froze for a moment, his face filled with disbelief. You're Jessica? Oh my God. You've changed so much. You're so pretty now that I didn't recognize you. Hearing the noise, some people gathered around and teased me, asking if I had gotten plastic surgery. I'm not sure who started it, but someone jokingly asked, Jessica, where's your boyfriend? Why didn't you bring him along? I don't have a boyfriend. I'm single. Alright, if you don't mind, I'm going to the bathroom. Using the excuse of going to the bathroom, I finally managed to escape their questioning. As soon as I sat down on the toilet, I overheard 2 classmates gossiping while retouching their makeup. Michael Sr. is coming soon. Angela invited him. The Angela they were talking about was the one who went to the haunted house with Michael. They should be together by now, right? They've always attended events together. Last year, at the graduation anniversary, Senior even rushed to catch a flight. Yeah, both of them moved their work here, almost at the same time. What a coincidence, right? They must have planned it. But when are they going to go public? You're worrying about it for nothing. They're such a perfect match, they could just get married already. Thinking about it carefully, Michael and Angela had indeed always been close. Angela probably liked him a lot. But what about Michael? I didn't know. When I returned to the party, I coincidentally saw them walking in together through the door, talking and laughing. Michael saw me too and froze for a moment. I didn't greet them and turned to go to another corner. They were the last to arrive, and there were only 2 seats left next to each other, so they naturally sat together. In the past, I wouldn't have cared. After all, I never thought about being with Michael. So who he spent time with, or who he had rumors with, didn't matter to me. As long as I kept a safe distance from him, I wouldn't get hurt. But now, I felt a little uncomfortable. He had entered my life, and we had more interactions and deeper connections. I didn't just have a crush on him anymore, I had motives. Selfish desires. I wanted to walk hand in hand with him. This party felt dull. I glanced over at them a few times. Their group was chatting happily, laughing brightly. Angela even poured more wine for Michael. The noise around me, everyone's laughter, made my mood feel out of place. I picked up a glass of wine from the table and drank it in one go. A burning sensation ran down my throat, and I suddenly choked. Unable to stop coughing. My roommate patted my back and asked in confusion, Jessica, if you're going to drink, there's no need to drink like that. What? This wasn't a soft drink? I looked up and locked eyes with Michael. He frowned, as if he was about to say something. Was he worried about me? After I caught my breath, I opened my phone, went to the chat window with Michael, typed several times, and deleted it all. In the end, I sent him a message. Michael, can you explain your relationship with Angela? I gripped my phone tightly, anxiously waiting, unable to hear anything around me. I didn't even notice that they had started playing a game. It was the same old truth or dare game everyone had played 1,000 times. When the bottle on the table spun and landed in front of me, I was still dazed. My roommate excitedly slapped my hand. Jessica, hurry up. What will you choose? I looked confused and said, what did you say? Choose what? She replied, Alex is asking you truth or dare? Truth. Jessica, who did you give your first time to? Wow, starting with such a provocative question. I didn't want to answer, especially since that person was Michael. So, I chose to drink 3 shots instead. After drinking the 3 shots, my stomach started to feel uncomfortable, and my head became a little heavy. But I didn't look in Michael's direction anymore. They continued playing. My phone still hadn't received a reply, and I lost myself in my own thoughts. Though the teasing continued in my ears, I didn't pay much attention. A long time had passed when suddenly someone grabbed my hand and pulled me up from the chair. Caught off guard, I crashed into that person's chest. I looked up and saw Michael staring at me. As if there was something in his eyes, something spilling out. Just as I was about to ask what was going on, Michael covered my eyes and held the back of my head. Then, I felt a warm sensation on my lips. Michael was kissing me? Wait, where are we? It felt like Michael was slowly unwrapping a precious gift. He gently kissed my lips and caressed the tip of my tongue. My heart leapt from the bottom of the valley to the peak of a mountain. Like fireworks bursting in celebration. The anxiety that had been gnawing at me just vanished in an instant. Michael kissed me for a long time before letting go. He leaned close to my ear and softly said, I only like you, that's my answer. Without thinking, I glanced at Angela. She looked heartbroken, biting her lip as though she was about to cry. My heart tightened in an instant. Aching terribly. I felt like I wanted to release all the emotions I was holding back. Tears blurred my vision, and I started crying loudly, my shoulders trembling uncontrollably. Michael and the others were startled by my sudden outburst, unsure of what to do. Michael gently rubbed my back, guiding my head softly onto his chest, repeatedly apologizing in a panicked voice, Jessica, it's all my fault, please stop crying. It's my fault. You can yell at me, hit me, whatever, just don't cry. Some classmates nearby also apologized, Jessica, we're sorry, we didn't consider the boundaries. We won't play truth or dare again, please don't cry. I couldn't explain to them that I wasn't crying because of Michael's kiss. I was crying because seeing Angela so upset made me feel like I was experiencing her pain. I could feel her heart breaking. And it hurt me to see her like that. Then I heard Michael comforting them, it's my fault, I picked the dare, it has nothing to do with you guys. I'm pursuing Jessica, and I think she got scared. The atmosphere in the room shifted subtly. Some people patted Michael on the shoulder, others whispered good luck to him, and some even cheered, get together. I was still leaning against Michael. The air around us a bit charged with tension. Through my tears, I quietly said to Michael, I want to go home. Okay. Back at my place. I tried to keep my voice steady, suppressing the sound of my sniffles, and asked one question after another, has Angela liked you for many years? Did she confess to you? Did you reject her? How did you two end up coming together? Michael gently tapped my nose with his knuckle and asked, are you jealous? Feeling sad? Is that why you cried? Answer me first. He rubbed my head and said seriously, all right. Angela and I are high school classmates. After the college entrance exam, she confessed to me. I didn't feel that way about her, so I rejected her right away. Over the years, I've told her many times not to waste her time on me, that it wasn't worth it. But she said it was her choice. And I couldn't take that away from her. She said she wouldn't give up unless I started dating someone. You never liked going to gatherings, and I thought you weren't coming. I wasn't planning on meeting her, we just bumped into each other after parking, so we came together. I sniffled and said, why would someone as amazing as Angela be so stubborn, clinging to you like that? Ugh, Angela is too pitiful. Michael looked at me in disbelief. You weren't crying because of me, were you? I clenched my fist and punched him lightly in the chest. Yes, I was. She saw you kiss me, and now she's heartbroken, almost in tears. I couldn't help but feel for her and cry too. What should I do, be happy and twist the knife in her heart even further? That would be too cruel, especially since she's always been nice to me. Michael pinched my face. After all this, the person I like is sympathizing with another woman? You heartless little thing, can't you be a little considerate of me? People will think I'm bullying you. I gritted my teeth and replied, Michael, I need to warn you, due to your boundary-crossing kiss, I'm deducting points from you. He sighed, Jessica, just agree to date me. If you do, your Angela will be free from her suffering soon. Can't you share a little bit of that sympathy with me? I've been holding on for so many days, it's really tough. Before I could say anything more, Michael leaned in, trying to get closer to me. I put my hand on his lips, flustered, and ran away. I'm tired today. I'm going to take a bath and go to bed early. I ran away so quickly that I forgot to bring my pajamas into the bathroom. So I had to ask Michael to get them for me from the wardrobe. I waited for what felt like forever as he was taking his time. He stood outside the door and asked, Jessica, can I come in? I miss you. No. Honestly, if he really wanted to come in, I wouldn't have been able to stop him. Jessica, are you sure you don't regret it? Yes. Surprisingly, he listened and just handed me the pajamas. Not doing anything more. He told me to sleep well and left. It was Saturday. I had gone to bed early last night and slept soundly, so I felt refreshed and energized. A message from Angela popped up on my phone. The timestamp read 1:30 a.m. The message said, Jessica, what I'm about to say may not be appropriate given my position, but I believe you have your own judgment. It's no secret that I like Michael. But he never gives me a chance. Looking back, I realize that you and he share many similar traits: gentle but not without boundaries, unwavering in your beliefs, decisive in your actions. Perhaps he was drawn to you because of these qualities. Thinking back, my instinct that he liked you was right. Like that time at the haunted house, when he handed me off to someone else midway, I should have realized he was looking for you. Not just to pick something up. He's actually quite foolish, liking you for so long but not daring to act on it. Until last year, when he changed his mind. He wasn't planning to attend your graduation anniversary, but when I casually mentioned you in the morning, he immediately booked a flight in the afternoon. However, you weren't there, and I could tell he was forcing a smile. He casually asked about your recent situation. And when I bluntly asked, he admitted that he liked you. He didn't want to disturb you since you didn't want a long-distance relationship. In the end, he still couldn't let go of you. To be closer to you, he worked day and night, rushing through his schedule to get to your city. Even though I knew his feelings for you, I didn't easily give up. Selfishly, I thought maybe you didn't like him, or perhaps you had a boyfriend back then. Tonight, I've decided to let go. Jessica, Michael doesn't play games. Once he's decided something, he'll never back down. He's a good person, and so are you. He's been brave enough to pursue you. If you like him too, don't miss your chance. Reach out to him and hold on tight. Best of luck. Don't worry about me. I sighed and felt a wave of emotion. Angela truly is a gentle person. I replied, I understand. Thank you, Angela. I wish you all the best. After breakfast, Michael asked me to accompany him back to school. It was late April, the perfect time for the school's purple magnolias to be in full bloom. On both sides of the sidewalk, branches were layered with blossoms, making everything look vibrant and uplifting. We first arrived at the teaching area. On Saturdays, there were no students in class, so the hallways were mostly empty, with only a few scattered people. As we walked, we both stopped at the same moment. Michael raised an eyebrow and smiled. It was in this classroom that I first saw the innocent and cute you. I went up to give a speech, and I saw how serious you were, like a good student listening attentively. Your eyes were fixed on me the whole time. Of course I had to support you. You spoke so well, and I took it to heart. If others didn't, that's their loss. A breeze blew by, carrying a faint floral scent. Michael's profile was bathed in a golden light as he murmured, "Yes, you're a kind and considerate person." We walked up a slope, and soon the familiar library came into view. We took out our alumni cards and swiped them at the entrance. By lunchtime, the self-study room was sparsely populated. I found an empty seat at the desk I used to sit at. The desk was right by a large, floor-to-ceiling window. Up close, I could see a fountain, and in the distance, the trees were lush. In the evening, I could watch the sunset slowly setting. During breaks, I liked to gaze out the window, letting my mind wander before drifting into a peaceful nap. Sitting at my old spot, I leaned forward and rested my head to the side, closing my eyes just like I used to. The air still smelled the same, with the familiar scent of old books filling the room, which was oddly comforting. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Michael crouching in front of the window, his gaze intense. His hand traced the line of my face and gently cupped the corner of my lips before leaning in to kiss me. My heart skipped a beat, and my face instantly flushed. I had a fleeting illusion that it was the Michael from my university days. He turned his phone screen toward me, showing a message. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I finally succeeded. I covered my mouth and turned my face away, a sweet warmth bubbling up inside me. After lunch, the sun climbed higher in the sky. The spring light danced through the branches, casting dappled shadows on the ground as we walked through a path paved in golden light. Michael suggested we take a walk by the school's small lake and feed the goldfish. We stood by the water, tearing up some bread into small crumbs and tossing them into the lake. Soon, a school of goldfish swarmed toward us, crowding around where we stood. Michael, look, that red and white goldfish is so fast. It's definitely the first one to grab the food. It's really clever. I envy it. If I were that smart, I wouldn't have trouble even chasing after a girl. I snatched the breadcrumbs from Michael's hand, threw a few pieces at him, and then sprinted off. I ran past ivy-covered trees, the fragrance of fresh grass blending with the spring breeze, brushing through my hair and caressing my face. My shirt became slightly damp as I ran, feeling completely relaxed. Michael quickly caught up to me. From behind, he wrapped his arms around me and trapped me under a tree. I turned around and leaned my back against the tree trunk, meeting Michael's gaze. There was something intense in his eyes, and a faint blush had crept onto his cheeks.
"Jesse," Michael began, "this is my first time chasing a girl, so I have no experience. Do you remember when I went to the library to find you? You told me to boldly walk my own path at night. But what you didn't know was that before that, I had already secretly watched you walk your night path. Do you remember? One evening, the streetlights went out and everything was pitch black. You didn't notice me hiding in the bushes, looking around to make sure no one was there. Then you took out your pepper spray and shouted something. What was it again? Who's there? Bring it on. I secretly laughed to myself. A bold, stubborn girl who didn't care about what others thought. How could she be the same person who was once afraid to walk alone at night? She was so cute. I once saw you through the library's floor-to-ceiling window, quietly sleeping without your glasses. So obedient. I leaned closer and noticed a note on your desk. It said, True generosity toward the future is to give everything to the present. A feeling of kinship inexplicably surged in my heart. Later, I discovered a secret. Every time you went to the library, the note on your desk had a different quote. This piqued my interest, and I couldn't help but wonder what you'd write next. I often took this as an opportunity to secretly gaze at your sleeping face. I also overheard your phone call when you said, "I don't do long-distance relationships. I can't look at the moon with you that way." I couldn't offer you the moon you wanted, so I stopped spying on you. Because I quickly left for another city to take up a position at a research institute I had been dreaming about. At that time, I thought my feelings for you were just a passing fancy, not something lasting. After graduation, I refrained from seeing you, afraid I couldn't control my longing for you. I underestimated my own emotional nature. Even though I couldn't see you, I still thought about you for years. Finally, you graduated and stayed in the city. For your graduation anniversary, I decided to come after all. I missed you so much. I wanted to see the carefree, free-spirited you from social media, laughing so freely. You didn't attend the event, and even the drinks tasted unpleasant to me. Someone told me you were still single, so when I got back, I decided I would come to you and look at the moon together. I was lucky. The couple living across from you had moved out and were renting out their place. I thought my chance had finally come, so I quickly put down the deposit. But during that time, I had just taken on a new task, and I was so busy that I didn't even have a chance to run into you. I thought I could wait a little longer before the overtime ended. One day, I finished my work earlier than usual, and I ran into you in the hallway. I wanted to greet you, but you ran off in an instant. You're still as cute as ever. I told myself to take it slow. You were shy. A few days later, when you knocked on the wrong door, I realized I was wrong. I missed you too much. I couldn't take it slow. Drunk, you mustered the courage to kiss me, and the smell of alcohol on your lips made me intoxicated as well. After a while, you said you didn't feel well, so I changed to a gentler position. But truthfully, I just wanted to kiss you and taste the sweetness of your cherry-red lips. You surprised me greatly, and I thought, watching your awkward movements, my blood rushed, and I couldn't contain myself anymore. The whole night, your soft sobs mixed with my rapid breaths. At first, you cried out in pain, biting my shoulder. After a few seconds, you stopped, worried that I might be in pain too. You're always so gentle with others. I felt heartbroken for you, wanting to treat you with the utmost tenderness. But sometimes, the beast inside me takes over. Especially when I hear your cries. People are such contradictory beings. That night, I experienced the joy of being with you. But when I woke up, I was alone in the bed. I wondered, do you hate me? Do you not want to see me? Want to be alone for a while? Or have you gone to work? Do you like me? I never heard you talk about anyone you liked. It seems like love was never a topic for you. Those days, I couldn't eat or sleep properly. I pretended it was just a problem with my friends and asked others for advice. They told me to pretend to be drunk to test you. The scent of you was reassuring, and my nervous heart gradually calmed down. You didn't seem to resist me much, like you didn't dislike my face. That made me feel so relieved. Suddenly, I wanted to be mischievous. I wanted to hear you say you liked me. Even if you were lying, it didn't matter. You granted my wish, and my world seemed to explode with firecrackers, warm, bright, and sweet. The desires of people really are endless. I acted like a beast again. I made you cry again. I was afraid you might run away again. I couldn't sleep at night, subconsciously checking the warmth of your hand in mine. Sure enough, you wanted to leave me. I held you tight against me, our skin pressed together, and dark thoughts surged inside me. On this sunny morning, I sank into you once again. I didn't dare to tell you directly, so I pretended it was your fault. You fell for me once more. I wanted to cling to you, even if in the most shameless way. I dug a hole, waiting for you to jump in. I want you to take responsibility for my happiness for the rest of my life. Jessica, would you be willing to take responsibility? Would you be willing to be with me?
Sunlight poured through layers of overlapping mountains, filling Michael's eyes and softening his face. Behind him, pear blossoms danced midair, falling softly onto his shoulders. I felt a sense of daze, as if returning to the first snow we shared, when the delicate snowflakes fell on Michael's shoulders, and a sudden warmth rose within me. It turns out, that was the snow in my heart quietly melting. I gazed into Michael's eyes. Like a pool of water, and I saw a tiny stream crossing over snow-covered mountains, traveling through fields, experiencing the changing seasons, winding and swirling, coming toward me. I never imagined that Michael had been quietly watching me, paying attention to me from corners I didn't know, secretly hiding that affection. It was a mutual, silent love waiting to blossom. I plucked the bauhinia flower from his shoulder, carefully holding it in my hands. I pressed my chest to hide my joy, letting my lips curve into a smile that couldn't be contained. Michael, I've waited so long for this day. My answer is yes. I opened my arms wide and hugged my happiness tightly. We embraced in the season of spring, where flowers bloomed everywhere. We went to the glass greenhouse restaurant. The half-dome of transparent glass above was shaded by strong tree trunks. The branches hung down like threads, covered in clusters of blossoms. The wind swayed them, sending the faint scent of flowers toward us. We watched the last golden rays of the sunset fade away, waiting for the colorful dusk to slip through our fingers. Enjoying a wonderful dinner. The Milky Way gradually descended. Michael, pretending to be mysterious, blindfolded me and said he had a gift for me. I let him lead me, no longer afraid of the darkness before me. After a while, he took off my blindfold. I looked around and realized we were standing on the rooftop balcony, with a telescope beside us. I asked Michael, "Are you taking me to see the stars?" "No. I'm taking you to see the moon." As soon as he finished speaking, Michael wrapped his arms around me and buried his nose in my neck. His breath made my neck tingle, and I suddenly felt dizzy. Michael opened the balcony door and gently pushed me inside. A full-floor window caught my eye, and the city's nightscape unfolded beneath me. The round moon hung hazily in the sky, shrouded by a light mist. Michael pushed me against the glass wall. His voice low and husky as he said, "Jessica, I wasn't lying to you. I will be the one to admire the moon with you." And then he placed a lingering, passionate kiss on my lips. Afterward, he seemed to have something new in his hand. He lifted it with a mischievous grin, tugging at two thin straps. "Jessica, this sleepwear looks great. It'd be a waste not to wear it. Will you wear it for me tonight?" Damn it. This was the sleepwear we bought the other day in the mall that I couldn't wear. Suddenly, I realized why Michael had spent so long searching for sleepwear last night. He'd been setting me up. "Michael, you've been planning this all along, right?" I refused to wear it. "Is it that you don't like this style, Jessica?" "It's okay, there are other styles. Take your time. And I'm sure you'll find one you like." It looked like Michael wasn't going to let me off the hook, so I tried another excuse. "It's not washed yet, so it's not clean. I can't wear it." "Don't worry, Jessica, I washed it for you last night. Hand-washed, dried, and disinfected." Clever Michael. I began to suspect that Michael was a magician. He magically produced a jacket from nowhere, and it looked oddly familiar. Michael coaxed gently, "Jessica, tell me, what's this?" I remembered immediately it was the jacket Michael had thrown at me years ago, and I had kept it all this time. I turned my face away, deliberately pretending not to acknowledge it. "This should be my brother's jacket. Did it get left here?" He playfully tapped my nose and laughed triumphantly. "Still not admitting it? Jessica, you've hidden it well. You've kept my jacket for all these years and never told me you liked me. I almost got tricked by you, little liar." I quietly retorted, "I didn't, no," but the words got stuck in my throat, unable to come out. Michael gently brushed my hair back, his expression serious. "What is it you like about me? Is it my face, or is it my whole self? Do I look like the kind of person who would be after just looks?" I indignantly replied, "I'm not that shallow." Of course, I like your whole self. Michael grabbed his belt, lifted my foot, and grinned in triumph. All right, then. I'll give you all of me. Michael was at it again. I groaned in misery. Michael, how long is this going to take? It's been ages. Isn't this enough? Michael feigned a heartbroken expression. Jessica, this top-floor suite in a 5-star hotel is so expensive. If we don't take the time to enjoy it every corner, we're missing out. He added with a smirk, I was actually planning to let you off today, giving you a chance, but you refused. You said you wouldn't regret it. I immediately regretted it. I was wrong. Is there a chance for redemption? Michael flipped me over and, in a seductive voice, said, Call me brother, any nickname will do. My ears are soft. If you say it sweetly, I'll let you off the hook. For the sake of my beauty sleep, I softened my voice. Leaning close to Michael's ear, and whispered, Brother you, lover, handsome brother, good brother, please spare me. Michael's breath caught, and his movements halted. Just as I thought I was escaping, he suddenly launched a more intense assault than before. I wanted to cry in despair. Didn't we agree? I said it, so why aren't you letting me go? Michael pretended to look innocent. Jessica, have you ever seen a reasonable beast? Oh my God. I woke up to find it was already the afternoon of the next day. Michael was standing by the bed, his smile deep and teasing. I was so angry that I wanted to hit him. But just as my hand lifted, I noticed something shiny on my finger. I leaned in closer and saw it was a Tiffany classic 6-prong diamond ring. I looked at Michael, and he knelt down on one knee, as though performing magic, presenting me with a bouquet of red roses and an envelope. Jessica, open it and see. Although I knew he was proposing, my hand still trembled uncontrollably as my heart raced with joy. Inside the envelope were a few bank cards, a car key, and a note. The note read, You are my moon. Jessica, the password for the bank card is yesterday's date. These are all my possessions. I can earn money, do housework, will you take me in? I love you. I love you as much as life itself. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I couldn't care less about my messy hair. In one swift movement, I leaped into his arms. I hugged him with all my strength, and for the first time in my life, I said those 3 words, I love you. I think our love story will never have an ending because we still have so many more years together. We embraced tightly in this April day of ours.